Another month goes by and another A24 film drops into theaters that you probably have never heard of before, called janetplanet. So is this film even worth investing your time? No, you're not missing much whatsoever. In rural western Massachusetts, 11-year-old Lacy spends the summer of 1991 at home, enthralled by her own imagination and the attention of her mother, Janet. The film stars Julianne Nicholson, Zoe Ziegler, and Will Patton, and was directed by Annie Baker, and this is her first film. Going into janetplanet, I did watch a trailer before going to check out this film, and it didn't really wow me. I knew that it was based on a mother-daughter relationship. It's not really readily available right now. It's only in about 300 theaters, has an average theater average of about $192 per theater, and it's only made about $100,000 so far, so it's not really making a bunch of money at the box office at the moment. I did like the natural lighting of this film and the way that they shot this film. It's very bright at times, and the natural lighting, it really reflects the story, I think, very well. It also has a documentary feel to it, and it also has some graininess to it throughout the film, which I thought was very unique. The main character, Zoe Ziegler, she is the 11-year-old daughter of the mother here, and she is very awkward. I really did like her performance. I think that she is very strange in her outright mind at an 11-year-old, and she's having trouble really adjusting, because this film, it really tackles the mother, really bringing in a bunch of different people into her life. Each chapter title card that actually appears on screen, it is the name of the person that Janet is bringing into her life, in which they all start to really disappear and move on, because a lot of comments that Lacy makes to these people, it kind of turns them off, and they just kind of stay for a short time. Her mother is a hippie, and she just has a very unbalanced life, and you can tell that this little kid, she really has no friends whatsoever. Throughout this film, she does say a lot of strange lines, I feel, to get attention. Like, there's one part where she's in bed with her mom, and she says that she feels like she's a lesbian, and then she also makes some other comments that her life is hell every day. So you can really tell that she's really looking for attention. She likes to sleep with her mom as well, and you can really tell also that she really wants all the attention for her at all times. Another example of that too is when she's laying in bed with her mom and she says, give me something that I can actually keep, and she gives her a piece of her hair, and she looks at it and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep with this. So you can really tell that the daughter here is really messed up mentally, especially with the mom having a very unbalanced life and just bringing in people one by one. It's a very heavy dialogue film. There isn't a lot of narrative to the story really, and a lot of times this film, it really is just an observation piece. You really just observe these characters and their habits, and they have some critical lines that you can tell that obviously their relationship isn't there, but it really doesn't have a lot of meat on the bones to really get too much invested. And I think with these type of movies, what you really like to see if you're a viewer is you like to see characters that maybe make that sudden change in their life, or make changes that really develop the character a little bit more. And this film, it has none of that. A lot of these characters are very stagnant. They have certain issues about them, and they really never change throughout this film. It's just very constant within the film, and it makes it to be a very much of a slog to get through, because there's just not a lot going on. There's not a lot of music in here, though I will actually comment, there is a part in here where the girl actually feels sick and she's listening to Clarissa Explains It All, and I was like, oh, that really brings me back to my 90s childhood there. So that was really cool that they really had that. There are a lot of extended shots in here, like nature shots. There's one scene where I think is pretty much unneeded, where they show the little girl in the shower, and they don't show her naked, obviously. There's no nudity or anything like that. But they show her from the neck up, and she's taking a shower. And it's like a 3-minute scene where she's just taking a shower. And a lot of parts throughout this film is a lot of extended shots of the characters. And I guess they're trying to read their emotions within each scene. But I just feel like because there's not a lot of narrative to the film itself, it gets to be very boring to just sit through this and watch it. There's not a lot of events that actually happen in this film. A lot of the film actually takes place in the house that they're actually staying at. There is 2 events that are outside the house. You have one event where they go to like a play, and then they go to a country square dancing, which a lot of that is very observation as well. There's not a lot of dialogue. So I think that's kind of my problem with this film, is there's not much really going on within the narrative of changing any type of character, and the events that they go to, it's another observation piece piece for the viewer itself, but there's not really much in the emotions that really change throughout this film, or nothing that really actually got me glued into the film itself, other than the fact that I think Zoe Ziegler's performance here is actually pretty good. But other than that, there's just not much else that I can really say that really drew me in to keep wanting to watch this. And that really brings up my point about A24 as a whole. I don't really understand the direction they're going in. They did a lot of these indie films when they first started. They started to get bigger and started to get more known for horror, like Hereditary and Midsummer. They got big with Everything All at Once. They did Pearl, they did X, they just did Civil War, which a lot of people really know about them. They're not that small indie type of studio anymore, but then they release films like this, Janet Planet, Problemista, Tuesday. They all get 300 theater counts, which not a lot of people can actually watch them and know that they're actually available, and there's no promotion. So you have 3 films there that you greenlit and you put out in theaters and nobody knows about them. So I don't really understand their strategy, because obviously, I don't have a problem with them doing these kinds of films, but promote them. Let people know that they're actually available, whether they're good or not. I mean, you're a much bigger studio now, so promote your movies. So I just don't really understand where they're really going in their direction. But as far as a score for this film, I can only give it a 1.5 out of 5. I really didn't enjoy this at all. It was a boring film to sit through, and I just can't say that I can recommend it, to be honest with you. And I don't blame anyone that really doesn't watch this film, mainly because, again, there's not a lot of meat on the bones, and it's going to be more so a very niche audience that probably enjoys this film, and someone that's maybe a filmmaker and really likes the filming style of it. I completely understand that, and I don't think the performances are bad here, but there's just not a lot to really get attached to the film. There's not a lot of events going on, and there's not really too much of a narrative. It's an observation piece. That's really all it is, unfortunately. So have you guys seen Janet Planet? If you have seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out, is it something that you're going to check in the theater if it's near you, or are you going to wait for streaming or VOD? Thank you guys for watching this review, and I will see you guys next time.